Welcome back to the Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure. We are still doing the main event of a trade conference and just received an invitation to a private audience with both Chancellor Osborne of Erebonian and President Rocksmith of Cavardian. I know, I'm not sure where Vice Commissioner Pierre headed off. He's been gone for a while now. Maybe he went to the security command room? What's this? I see. So that's when you went into Lucy. Yep. I was only in Meriferi on business too. Guess she caught wind. I tried to run, but she caught me. Sheesh, I must be losing my touch. Can you even guess how many bonks over the head she gave me? Not a one? She hugged you instead with tears in her eyes, didn't she? Dang it. I can tell exactly how Lucy feels, you know? She's probably well aware of just how dangerous her day-to-day is. I'm sure she's been worried sick. Man, a woman's intuition is no joke. Makes my spine tingle. I never do know how to handle them. Maybe, but you brought it upon yourself. This really does take me back. It's been so long since I've seen Leo too. I'd love for all of us to have a reunion. Why have a long face letter? Isn't this the part where you say, yeah, let's all have a bash at Michelin and party till we drop? Not a bad impression. No promises, but I see what I can do. Just don't hold your breath, alright? I know, but you won't be able to stop me from looking forward to it anyway. Now then, I should be going, if you excuse me. No problem. Hey, don't forget to say hi to Zeke for me. I still owe him that salami. Damn, she's really coming to her own. Libel couldn't ask for a better crown princess. You guys think so too, right? Busted. Sorry, we didn't mean to eavesdrop. We didn't hear much, I assure you. Didn't you, Ellie? You seemed very invested in their relationship from where I was standing. Tio! Well, she ain't the only one. You and the princess sure seem close. What's the story there? I was her upperclassman back in school. Prep, I mean, not Sunday school. Janice Royal Academy, to be specific. Janice Royal Academy. That's one of Libel's most prestigious institutions, isn't it? That's right. It's not unheard for them to accept students from abroad, but... Did you study there on taxpayer money? Nah, old McGilly paid my tuition out of pocket. Well, it's about time I had the old dusty trail myself. Oh, that reminds me. You got called in to talk with head honchos, right? They're both real pains in the ass to deal with, so good luck in there. What? Could he be any more sketchy if he tried? Who'd have thought the next queen of Libel went to school with an imperial spy? Truth is stranger than fiction, as they say. Whatever the case, we can't forget that he's a subordinate of a blood and iron chancellor. As for what he's after personally, I think we have to figure that out for ourselves. First take a look around, but kinda got distracted by that. How are you and your men faring, Captain Grant? Just fine. Everyone's standing by on high alert. They're used to being ready for an emergency at any moment. I suppose there would be. That's reassuring to hear. If you don't mind, I'd like to go over how our forces will be deployed for the second half of the conference. What are you doing here? Should visit the Chancellor and the President? Don't keep them waiting. Even if those terrorists don't show during the intermission, there's still the latter half of the conference, or even after the session closes. I hope I'm overthinking it, but it's too soon to start calling it a day on things. We'll be ready when the time comes, that much I'm sure of. Halfway through the conference, and things are still situation normal. Our goal is to detect any terrorist activity before they strike, but I wouldn't complain if nothing wound up happening. Security procedures will remain the same whether the conference is in session or not. Even with security this tight, we still have to remain vigilant for any potential avenues the terrorists may try to break through the home. There are several possibilities, so we're all keeping our ears to the ground. We haven't picked up any suspicious activity in or out of the city for the time being. Our surveillance teams reported no movement whatsoever from Hayu or the Red Constellation either. I wish I could call that a good sign, but all it does is make me feel uneasy. This may only be the calm before the storm. Our force have been scouring the premises for hours, but we still haven't seen hide nor hair of any terrorists. Just where could those lowlifes be hiding? How many times must I tell you, the press isn't allowed past here? It's still a mission though, right? Can't you just, look the other way? We promised we only want to take a few photos. They won't even know we're there. That's right. I can't go back to Grace empty-handed. Please let us through. Persistent as ever. Good luck trying to tell a reporter where it can and can't go. Well, as long as no one is trying to physically force their way through, they're not breaking any rules. I guess so. It's just all this is just all a part of being a member of the press, right? Either way, we may as well give up any hope of using the elevators right now. I'd say the first half of the conference went well despite any hidden agendas the major powers have up their sleeves. Revitalizing the continental economy is a welcome suggestion as far as Liberal and Zemuria are concerned. It's rather unusual for the two major powers to compromise on cost-per-state proposals to this extent, don't you think? Granted, the two have a vested interest in seeing the state prosper, but it's still a shock to see. That's right, all nations agreed on that issue as well. Go ahead and forward that to our main office. Looks like he's making a call on his Enigma. Most likely to his colleagues outside the tower. I guess his job is providing them with a little play-by-play on what's happening inside the conference. Sounds like a rough job, boring too. Is that Arius and Kilika? I believe so. What could they be talking about? Nearly a year has gone by since you left the guild. Are you adjusting well to your new job? More or less. Though the workload is so much heavier, it doesn't even begin to compare. So I imagine. And how has Shizuku been? As cheerful as ever, though sometimes I feel as though she's a bit too accommodating for a child her age. She was recently blessed with a wonderful friend as well. I've noticed that she smiles more often since then. That's good to hear. It's already been half a decade since Saya's passing, hasn't it? Not to mention 6 since our first meeting. That's right, 6 years. You were wandering a continent when you came across Saya and escpecially by chance. As I remember, she insisted you stay with our family while you were in town, no matter how much you tried to refuse. Imagine my surprise when I saw you working for the Bracer Guild in Liberal 3 years later. The goddess works in mysterious ways. You never quite know what threads will end up tying people together. I'll never forget the hospitality the two of you have showed me back then. My only regret is that I was unable to return the favor to her. And there's no need to dwell. The fact that you remember it to this day would be more than enough for Sire. Sounds like those two knew each other before they met through the guild. Evidently so, but I feel like it must be rude to listen in any further. I agree, we should leave before we interrupt them. I just remembered Estelle and Joshua wanted to see you when you came earlier in the year. They were disappointed to miss you when they heard you and Lynn had lunch together during the anniversary festival. They were. It wasn't my intention to give him the cold shoulder. If time had permitted, I would have been more than happy to do a little catching up. That being said, I've heard plenty about their achievements while they were here in Crossbill. It's amazing to think those two are the same two rookies who came through the doors of the Zeiss branch 2 years ago. Indeed. They were invaluable to us during their stay. I should have expected as much from a pair that was raised by Cassius. I look forward to seeing how they continue to grow. That's right, Kilika used to be a Bracer Guild receptionist in Libel. That explains how she knows Estelle and Joshua. It's a small world, as they say. People often have fewer degrees of separation between them than you'd expect. Incidentally, I've heard that you've been keeping in contact with Zin. You could say that, but we rarely get the chance to meet anyone, our positions being what they are. That's enough eavesdropping for one day, we should move along. The staff members are currently resetting the conference room. You're free to enter if you like. There haven't been any reports of potential terrorist activity so far. I like to believe our security is just that airtight, but we can't get ahead of ourselves. Until the conference is over and done, we need to remain as vigilant as we've ever been. The conference is only half over. I'm not dropping my guard for 1 second and we get the all clear. Wipe, wipe. Whew, there we go. It's up to us to make sure the attendees have a nice tidy room they can feel comfortable in for the second half of the conference. I promise to give this table the wipe down of a lifetime. The Vice Commissioner looks so apprehensive standing there. I wonder what's in his mind. Don't worry, I won't bother him. I'm just worried as all. Alright, now to straighten out this microphone. I have to admit I get a bit jittery thinking of how some of the most powerful people on the continent are sitting here just moments ago. My, what an amazing view. It's difficult to imagine any terrorists would take wing in such beautiful skies. Yes, that's it. The mere notion is absurd. There's simply no way it could ever happen. He doesn't sound too convinced. Terrorists, the mere notion is absurd. I must be overthinking things. This is a waiting room for those accompanying the representatives from Erebonian and Libel. Which means that just minutes ago, the Julia Schwartz was standing right in this spot. It makes me want to scream. I spotted Mr. McLean having a conversation with President Rocksmith's aide in the waiting room down the hall. They seem to already be acquainted. I wonder just what their relationship is. Hello, Angie? Yeah, we're in the middle of an intermission. Oh, that's right, Class 7 is at Garelia Fortress right now. I'm a little worried about what the Imperial Liberation Front is up to, but they should be fine as long as Crow's with them. I keep an eye out over on my end, so you guys be sure to do the same. Huh, that's not like any orbment I've ever seen. It must have been co-developed by the Foundation of the Reinford Company. Whatever it is that girl was talking about, though, it seems she's pretty on top of it all. Not just anyone can do that sort of thing. Huh? You love me? Angie! There's a serious situation here. I keep an eye out over on my end, so you guys be sure to do the same. Huh? Ah, it seems the elevator arrived. About that, please after you. Oh, I couldn't. You go on ahead. It's quite alright, I promise you. I'm in no particular hurry. No, I insist. You were here first. What's up, Lloyd? Take a look at those two soldiers by the elevator. They appear to be trying to compromise on who rides the elevator first. This is kind of painful to watch. Look at them go, like an awkward couple on a first date to the anniversary festival. We can forgo using the elevator for now, if only to spare us the emotional turmoil. Yeah, good call. And so the scene with Lecter and Claudia was mandatory. I saw Princess Claudia a few moments ago. I knew she'd be here, but I still could hardly believe my eyes. Being so close to so many dignitaries at once has me starstruck. I don't think I could live with the shame of letting them down. That's a good enough reason to stay sharp today. This is His Lordship Prince Albert's room. Speaker McDowell is currently paying him a visit inside. However, I've been instructed to let you pass. You're welcome to enter. We're done deliberating for now, but I'm absolutely exhausted after facing both Osborne and Rocksmith at once. Oh, now, don't sell yourself short, your lordship. You've grown quite capable of commanding the room when needed. I'd say your predecessors would be proud of the way you handled yourself and them. It's been 5 years since I ascended the throne. The nefarious domestic order has finally been secured, but I have much to learn as a statesman. Ah, look who it is. Thank you again for all your help yesterday. Good afternoon, Special Support Section. Pardon our interruption. I did hear about your being added to today's security detail. We appreciate your service. It's my understanding that you once even saved Speaker McDowell's life. It would seem we're in good hands. I think you may be expecting little too much from us. Not at all. I too find your presence here most reassuring. We will need that peace of mind to properly navigate the second half of the conference. About that, do you expect the upcoming discussions to become problematic, Grandfather? I do. Unlike the first half, I suspect the thoughts of Crossbell State will be thrust into the spotlight one after another, to which the major powers will no doubt be as demanding as they've ever been. However, I'm also concerned about Dieter. During our latest diet session, he was rather enthusiastic about introducing some truly radical ideas. Such drive comes with youth, and I do respect that. However, I worry about what direction it might take us today. I hadn't thought about it that way. Mr. Grimwood alluded to Mayor Croix having some kind of plan for the last half of the conference. I can't profess to know the details myself, but I'm certain he'll bring it to the table sooner or later. And whether it turns out for good or for ill depends entirely on how the conference proceeds, isn't that right, Speaker? Precisely. As Speaker, it's imperative that I lend my utmost support to Mayor Croix during the trade conference. It's no simple duty, to be sure, but I will do what I can to fulfill it. Of course. Best of luck, Grandfather. None of us can afford to lose our focus during the second half of the conference. We also need to be especially wary of whatever security proposals the two major powers bring to the floor. You have a special support section, right? Princess Claudia told me to let you pass. Feel free to go in if you'd like to visit. May I ask you a question, Zeke? How do you suppose Grandfather would have handled this if she'd been the one to come? Squee, squee! You have a point. I suppose I can't help being the way I am. Oh, hello, SSS! Sorry if you're interrupting, Your Highness. It's nothing to concern yourself over. I was merely thinking aloud. To be honest, I'm glad you came to visit. Your Highness? Are you also concerned over what may happen during the second half of the conference? Partially, yes, but I was actually reflecting on something a tad broader. As Crown Princess, I have a fair bit of knowledge when it comes to diplomatic negotiations. But to be a good negotiator takes many skills. Insight, judgment, and objectivity, for instance. The first half of the conference made me painfully aware that I have still room for growth in those particular areas. So that's what's bothering you. Give yourself some credit, knowing that you can improve is half a battle. That's right. And you're still only as old as Lloyd, Ellie, and myself, Your Highness. You're an inspiration if you ask me. That's very kind of you to say. Still, being timid in a room like that is unavoidable at this stage in my career. But though the continent's troubles wait for no one, I nevertheless have to learn at my own pace and take everything in stride. That's a good approach. Don't just forget to cut loose and relax every once again. Like now, for example, you only get one intermission. It would be a shame to waste it. Marzi, I swear to ideas, if you're thinking of inviting her out for a drink, or worse, it's alright. I was never one for excessive formalities. The lack of it is quite relaxing, actually. Whenever I think about it, perhaps nostalgic is a better word. Whenever I want all of you, I feel as if I'm speaking with Estelle, Joshua, and the rest of our friends. I'm not sure we can really compare, Your Highness. Well, I'd have to disagree with you on that. Yes, would any of you care for some tea? No, we couldn't possibly. As much as we would love to, we have somewhere else we need to be. My apologies, I should have anticipated that. I won't keep you any longer. Please be careful today, everyone. I wish you all the best. And rest assured that I'll be giving my utmost during the second half of the conference. We'll be rooting for you, Your Highness. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with me, everyone. Let's all focus on what's to come during the next phase of the conference. We've been expecting you. You're across the police department's special support section, correct? We are. Is this the president's room? Yes, I've been instructed to let you pass. Please make your way inside. Thank you. Pardon us. I can't believe you're about to meet the president of one of the two largest nations on the continent. You said it. Even I got butterflies in my stomach. Excuse us, Mr. President. We are told you requested to meet with the special support section. Ah, thank you all for coming. But please, no need for all the pomp and circumstance. Go ahead and have a seat. Oh, sure. That's very kind of you, Mr. President. My invitation must have come as quite a shock to you. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy agendas for this. Though I imagine you must be very busy yourselves. No, not at all. It's an honor just to be in your presence. You're Speaker McDowell's granddaughter, is that right? We met once before at a celebration of some sort, if I recall correctly. That's right. We first spoke back when I had the opportunity to visit Calvert with my grandfather. That was 2 years back. Oh yes, now I remember. You know, I was surprised to hear your grandfather chose to take up a post of speaker instead of seeking re-election. I truly admire how passionate he still is at his age. He's a model statesman, if I may say so. I'm sure my grandfather would be flattered to hear that. Not to change the subject, Mr. President, but what is it you called us here for? Ah, well, truth be told, I've already heard all about you SSF fellows from Kilika. This year's Schwarzer auction sounded like quite the affair, wouldn't you say? Frankly, former Speaker Hartman and I were never on the best of terms. Selfish as it may seem, I've been eager to meet the group that tipped the first dominoes that led to his downfall. We are honored, sir? Yeah, but real talk, we didn't do much. Guy just couldn't stop shooting himself in the foot. Very true. He made his own bet the day he became involved with a cult. Oh yes, who could forget that? The DG cult. Their treachery spread across the entire continent, but no nation was more affected than my own. I owe you my thanks for putting a stop to them once and for all. You're welcome, but really, we were only doing our jobs. Honestly, I'd say our contributions didn't really amount to much in the long run. No need to be so humble, my boy. I heard things were rather dire, even your Guardian force was being manipulated. Yet in the face of it all, you still managed to quash the cult and keep that little girl safe. Great goddess in the sky, those are no small achievements to speak of. Wow, you flatter us, Mr. President. Truly, I'm not sure we deserve such high praise. Oh, but you do. Had Crossbow fallen into the cult, I don't know what would have become of us. If those dastardly villains took hold of the IBC, international trade and finance would have come to a screeching halt. And I'm sure you don't need me to tell you how severe the consequences of that would be for our economy. That's true. All the more reason I'd like to acknowledge your valor. I think a fitting thing to do would be to award each of you a medal. Yes, that sounds perfect. I'll have the arrangements made as soon as I return to the Republic. No, you don't have to do that. Is it even appropriate for citizens of Crossbow to receive awards from the Republican government? Besides, you already got more recognition than I could handle from Granddad McDowell. Truly, I don't see any faux pas to be had about it at all. The trouble's our own as well. After all, the Republic does hold suzerainty over Crossbow. So if they accept the medals, they basically reinforcing that the Republic controls Crossbow rightfully. Mr. President. No. Keep your faces like that and they'll stay that way. You received an invitation from our friend the Blood and Iron Chancellor too, did you not? I would be delighted to speak with you all more, but I think my turn is over. And not to fear, I'll see to it that you receive those awards we spoke of. Keep an eye out for them, all of you. Thank you for visiting. You can find Chancellor Osborne's room at the end of the opposite wing. Right, thanks. We appreciate your help. You're welcome, farewell. He was something, wasn't he? Exactly what I'd expect from a major political figure. Capable and devilishly cunning. Could you at least wait until we're not standing in front of his room, Vazi? To be fair, the President never made much of an effort to hide it. I doubt he was intentionally trying to place pressure on us, but it doesn't change the fact that he did. I think he was trying to keep up appearances more than anything. As Cavardian's president, it would be good publicity to honor the ones who were credited with resolving the cult incident. Not to mention he said that Crossbow's troubles are theirs as well. Which reaffirms that he sees Cavardian as Crossbow's rightful owners. Man, you telling me that was the whole reason he called us in there? These big shot leaders got egos as wide as their country's borders. Without a doubt, even Diet members from an autonomous state like this have nothing on them. We still have to speak with the Chancellor. What do you think he wants from us? I couldn't say, but we're probably going to want to brace ourselves either way. Oh, you haven't left yet? Perhaps you'd like to join me for some tea then? They have even provided me with these lovely sweet buns. Please make yourself at home. Thank you for your offer, Mr. President, but we really couldn't. That's right, forgive us for interrupting. Right, the Mishi buns. Ah, good to see you again, SSS. Did you have a status update to make? Nothing to report for now. What about the two of you? Have you learned anything? Unfortunately not. Things have been quiet thus far. We're exhausting every avenue on the Erebonian side of things as well. But unfortunately, neither the nobles nor the reformers are intent on giving us any leads to work with. And that's unfortunate. A big goose egg from both imperial factions, huh? They seem like real peaches to deal with. Yesterday, Prince Olvert mentioned the possibility of creating a third faction, didn't he? It's been on my mind ever since. If you wouldn't mind, Major, could you tell me more about his intentions? Ellie? Well, it's only natural to be curious. I'm not supposed to say much, but I don't think there'll be any harm in sharing a bit with the SSS. To put it metaphorically, you could say the Prince is attempting to shatter some long-standing barriers. Barriers, huh? That's something we're all too familiar with. Basically, there are irreconcilable differences between the noble and reformist factions. But that won't stop him. He aims to have the two come to terms anyway, as absurd as that sounds. The prince is trying to get the reformist and noble factions to reconcile? I underestimated his starry-eyed idealism. Isn't the divide between the two sides as wide as the Cavardian Canyon itself? Muzzy, don't be rude. He is absolutely right. Still, the prince has committed himself to dancing toe-to-toe with a monster despite how ludicrous it may appear. He is fully aware of what people call him behind his back, a showy, debaucherous bastard prince whose only concern is his leisurely wants. Let him talk. I've decided to stand by him regardless. I see. That's very admirable. The prince will always have an ally in Liberal, Major Muller, just as Princess Claudia has stated. We may not always be able to intervene directly, but we'll assist you both in any way we can. Thank you, Senior Captain. I'm truly grateful. The prince must truly be loved to have so many valuable allies. I don't know if I'd go that far, but there's no question that he has a certain effect on people. Still, the best thing that could happen today would be that the trade conference ends without incident. That's the objective. We'll be counting on you if the situation calls for it, Special Support Section. Incidentally, I believe I saw Her Highness emerge from the stairwell a moment ago. But no matter, she is too strong to let that man weaken her resolve. I'm worrying myself over nothing. Is she talking about Lecter? Sounds like there's some history there. Please inform us if you noticed something amiss during your security patrol. We'll report any potential problems we might come across to the security command room on our part. Senior Captain Schwartz. I'd clock into work in a heartbeat if I had her for a boss. Wait, what the hell am I thinking? I gotta snap out of it. Can't be getting complacent, not while I'm assigned to such an important post. Far too early to breathe a sigh of relief, yet here I am, daydreaming. I can't be getting complacent, not while I'm assigned to such an important post. Oh, each of the dignitaries has such a commanding presence. I can't help but hold my breath every time one of them walks through here. Now if I come down. Things fixed, things fixed. Okay. What's that? Thankfully, reporters have stopped trying to sneak upstairs. I get they're trying to do their jobs, but so am I. Guess the press is the same no matter where you go, persistent as all Guyana. I knew trying to sneak onto the VIP floor was a bad idea. Where even is Grace right now anyway? It's a shame we can't stay on the same floor as the dignitaries, but there still should be plenty of opportunity to gather material. Okay. Ah, look here. So you're a coffee connoisseur too, Agris again? You and the Chancellor would get along just fine. Oh, I take it His Excellency often enjoys a good cup himself then. Yeah, he likes it how he likes his despair. Black as ink on a moonless evening. He loves the stuff. I don't think I've ever seen him blink in all of the years I've known him. Is that so? Well, that explains how he managed to keep his eyes on the ball all the time. But Chancellor and caffeine sounds like a very intense combination. As dark and bitter as he likes his coffee. I see. So Chancellor Osborne is Team Coffee in the war against tea. What about you, Lecter? Which side are you on? Sorry to burst your bubble, but I've always been a tea guy personally. But why do you care so much about what the second secretary likes anyway? Doesn't sound like much of a scoop to me. What can I say? Seeing a good-looking guy like you, figured maybe I should call dibs. Pretty faces make for some real eye-catchers on the front pages. Ah, stop, you're making me blush. She's laying it on thick. Still looks like Grace has a good handle on what makes Lecter tick. From how I see it, this game of cat and mouse is their way of sizing each other up. I just remembered there's something important I want to discuss with you, Grizzlygam. There is. What about? Well, you see, I've been having some troubles over at my workplace. You're an expert in civil rights, yeah? I'd like to hear a few takes from you. So that's it. Unfortunately, this isn't exactly the most appropriate place for a consultation. How about I leave this with you and you can contact me whenever it's convenient? Mr. Grimwood hands Lecter a business card. Hey, thanks! I guess Lecter's taking this opportunity to network. He does work in intelligence after all. Social wiles come with the territory. Let me ask you this, Grizzlygam. Yes, quite so. Ah, so that's how it is. As curious as I am to know what we're talking about, we just can't stand around here forever. Let's not eavesdrop anymore. This must be the Chancellor's room. The intermission will likely be over by the time we're done speaking with him. We should take care of anything else we need to do beforehand. We are halfway home. Now we just have to survive the second leg of a conference. Things are only going to get more difficult from here on. I hope the speaker and mayor are up to the task. Good afternoon, everyone. If you're looking for Mayor Croix, he's in Prince Oliver's room at the moment. Speaker McDowell on the other end is in Prince Albert's room on the West Wing. There should be no issue with you dropping in to visit either of them if you would like. Aha, I see. We share the same hopes for the bright men and women that will one day lead our people. Indeed. What's truly special about them is their hearts and minds. So pure yet fertile, like a garden basking in the morning dew. That's why more and more of... good afternoon, Special Support Section. Care to join in for our chat? Sure, if you're not interrupting, that is. What were you two discussing? His Highness he happens to be on the board of directors for a prestigious military academy in Erebonian. We are just discussing the finer details of his duties. The board of directors. Those would be the individuals responsible for how the school is operated, correct? Damn, that's one hell of a side gig. It's just another one of my many schemes to get my name out there, so... I think the mayor here has contributed far more than I have. You're involved too, Mayor Croix? He simply meant as a business partner. The IBC is the Epstein Foundation's benefactor, and it just so happens that the foundation is part of a major test being held by the Academy. Really? I had no idea. That reminds me, I've heard that orbital network tests also have begun in the Empire. No surprise the continent's largest bank is clouded in every country in some form or another. Quite right. I dare say our little talk today was preordained by the goddess herself. What do you say to being a guest lecturer at the Academy one day, if the opportunity arises? Though I have to warn you that faculty-student relationships are strictly prohibited. The way you say that almost makes it sound like you're encouraging it. An amusing fellow like yourself must be quite popular, Prince Olivert. I may just have to steal you away for a night of drinks once this is all over. I'd love nothing more, my friend. We'll have a rousing good time, you and me. It looks like His Highness and Uncle Dieter have really hit it off. I say, I guess they have more in common than I realized. Since you're on the subject, might I ask how well you can hold your liquor? I'd like to think I can keep upright when the libations begin to flow. Well, I've certainly met my match in the past. How curious, I detect a faint hint of wistfulness about the prince. Maybe he's remembering an old drinking buddy or something? Good old Aina. Anyway, you're the SSS, correct? From the Crossman Police? His Excellency is expecting you inside. Don't keep him waiting. Right. Pardon us. He practically exudes arrogance. Classic Imperial Army, overbearing as all Gehenna. Excuse us, Chancellor Osborne. We received word that you wish to speak with a special support section. Do come in. Magnificent view, isn't it? It's fascinating to think that mankind built a structure like this to look down on the world below. These walls in which we stand are proof that we finally attained the glory the ancient civilization once held. So they are. Are you referring to the ancient Zemurians from over 1,200 years ago? Everything I've heard about them makes it sound like they more or less had magic at their fingertips. Theirs wasn't necessarily a utopia, mind you. During last year's Liberal incident, a large floating city appeared over the kingdom. The city was constructed before the Great Collapse. It was sealed away by human hands. It was a symbol of mankind's potential, as well as its hubris. Our potential and hubris. You seem to be a very well-informed man. Oh, I wouldn't say I know everything. As far as Crossbow is concerned, I haven't discovered nearly as much as that priest, Joachim Günther, did. How do you... It's what we don't know that lends weight to the affairs of the world. If you had everything in the palm of your hand, life as we live it would be helplessly mundane. Don't you agree, West Hemisphere? Oh, so you know of me. Or do you? I get the sense my name is the only dirty little secret of mine you've uncovered. That would simply mean we have none worthy of capturing my attention. No, my interests lie far more in the realm of a war god. More specifically, his successor. Yeah? The Imperial Intelligence Division. Their ability to gather information is second to none. Bear my manners. I am Gilead Osborne, representative of the Empire of Erebonian. I've heard much about you from Lecter. Care to join me for a friendly chat before the intermission ends? Well then, Chancellor, what is it you wanted to discuss with us? You already seem all too aware of everything that's happening right now. No need to overthink it. This is nothing more than a civil conversation. There's something I would like to hear your opinions on, however. Our opinions? Yes, I'll be frank. How long do you think your precious crossbow will last? Bit of a loaded question, isn't it? On the contrary, I bear no ill intentions. History tells us that no political entity can last in perpetuity. And that's discounting the orbital revolution, which has accelerated all aspects of the contemporary world. How much longer can a land as contested as Crossbow withstand the upcoming turbulence of this era? I'm not sure. Forever! As long as there are citizens in this state with a will to protect it. Noel? True. Little matters more than having a solid will. A resolve, one might say. There are rare instances in time when trends are bucket and the course of history itself is changed. The people are never truly powerless. I don't doubt the potential the resolve can hold. Then, you agree? But consider this. What happens when two opposing resolves clash? It's simple. The lesser of the two would be engulfed, fanning the flames of upheaval hotter still. Now suppose these hellborn fires were to emerge again and again across the land. The integrity of morality itself would be smelted in the searing heat, until the world itself was ablaze. Such a phenomenon would surely be easy for you to imagine, would it not? I can understand how Rocksmith's resolve might seem lesser compared to that of the Empire or the Republic. But even a small flame is capable of burning bright. It's not a foregone conclusion that the larger will engulf it. Just as it was when Libel repelled the Imperial army. That's right, it was 12 years ago, during the 100 Days War. Well played. Resolve is ultimately a question of tenacity. Libel was small but tenacious. It overcame the shambolic effort the Empire put forward. There's much Rocksmith could stand to glean from that moment in time. However, I remain unconvinced that Cospellans hold the same pride and conviction as the people of Libel do. I'll leave things on that. Our intermission is coming to a close. It's almost slipped my mind. Don't expect any medals from the Imperial government. The nobility grows ever more irksome when awards are given to commoners. So even that you already knew. Consider yourself fortunate. I rarely see His Excellency in such an agreeable mood. What? Seriously? Is that what you call it? He seems to have taken a liking to you. I understand that it may be a tough pill to swallow, but I suggest you accept what you had to say. Or perhaps it isn't my place to tell you that, given my position. That was horrible. The man's a damn monster. Either way, we can't let it get to us. We have to take his perspective at face value. Hey Tio, you okay? Yes, I'll be fine. The imagery he invoked was a little too vivid. I got lightheaded as all. I can't blame you. Even I could feel those flames he kept talking about breathing down my neck. Calling the Blood and Iron Chancellor a monster is putting things lightly. He believes he holds the whole of Crossbow in the palm of his hand. Maybe, but I'm not so sure called us here to torment us, believe it or not. The same goes for President Rocksmith. I think the interest they have taken in us is genuine, for better or worse. Let's just take it for what it's been. A learning experience. That's one way to look at it. I think we could all take a page out of your book once in a while. No kidding. Leave it to LoH to make a near-empty glass half full. But he's right, there's no way we can let this slow us down. Of course not. What we should do instead is have its propel us forward. In any case, that just about used up the rest of the intermission. Let's head back to Dudley and report on how both of our meetings went.